Man, when I hit 60, I figured I'd earned the right to pump the brakes a little. You know, take it easy, enjoy the small stuff. My knees cracked like bubble wrap every time I stood up. And my lower back had this permanent beef with me. After 3 decades of bad posture and heavy lifting, still, I wasn't about to throw in the towel. Every morning I'd leash up Duke, my old golden retriever, grab a cup of coffee, and shuffle around the block. Coffee in one hand, leash in the other. That was my version of cardio. I kept telling myself, hey, at least I'm moving. Like that somehow made me a fitness icon. Truth was I was just surviving, not thriving. Then one morning I bumped into my neighbor, Bob. Now Bob's 72. But this guy looks like he wrestles grizzly bears for breakfast. Dude's built, like the kind of guy who splits logs for fun. I asked him, all right, man, what's your secret? You selling your soul to GNC or what? He just chuckled, wiped his hands on a rag, and said, walking's fine. But if you want to feel alive again, you gotta move with purpose. Try these 5 moves. I laughed it off. I mean, come on. I figured he was just showing off. But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't shake it. Bob's words kept echoing in my head. The guy didn't look like someone who talked nonsense. He looked like someone who knew exactly what worked. Next morning, I marched right over to his garage. Well, marched might be generous. More like hobbled with intent. His setup looked like something straight out of an old school Rocky movie. Dusty weights, resistance bands hanging off hooks, and an ancient stereo blasting. Bruce Springsteen like it was still 85. Bob grinned when he saw me. Didn't think you'd show up, he said. I told him, yeah, well, I didn't think I'd live to 60 either. But here we are. He laughed, clapped me on the back, and said, all right, old man, let's get to work. He started me off slow. No machines, no fancy mirrors, no Instagram trainers yelling, let's go. Just me, a floor mat, and a whole lot of reality. First up, body weight squats. Simple, right? That's what I thought. He told me, just sit back like you're lowering yourself into an invisible chair. Sounded easy enough, until I tried it. My thighs screamed like rusty hinges. My knees made noises they shouldn't. I wobbled so bad, I almost fell backward into his workbench. Bob chuckled and said, that's just your body remembering how to move again. I hated how right he was. After 10 squats, I was breathing like I'd sprinted a marathon. My pride took a hit, but something clicked. It wasn't about looking strong, it was about feeling strong again, Bob told me. Don't worry about how many. Worry about how you move. And that stuck with me. By the end of the week, something started to change. My legs didn't ache quite as bad. My balance got better. I could bend down to tie my shoes without making it a full event. My body, that old stubborn machine, was finally waking up. And the crazy part? I liked it. There was something addictive about earning every rep. Not phoning it in. Not pretending a walk around the block was enough, see? Walking's easy, it's autopilot. But squats? Squats make you honest. They make you face every lazy year you spent sitting behind a desk. Every excuse you ever told yourself. Bob didn't just show me an exercise. He flipped a switch in my brain. He made me realize, being over 60 doesn't mean you're running out of time. It means you finally get what matters. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop caring what anyone else thinks. You just move. Because you can. That old garage became my church. Springsteen blasting, sweat dripping, heart thumping like a drum solo. Every squat, every push-up, every deep breath was a little reminder that I was still here. Still kicking, and somewhere, between the sore muscles and the smell of old rubber mats, I started to feel alive again, so yeah. Maybe I'm not the guy I was at 30. My hair's thinner, my joints complain more, and my recovery time's about as fast as a dial-up connection. But now, every time I drop into a squat, I think, this is it. This is what it means to keep going, to keep fighting, to earn your strength back 1 rep at a time, and if you ever see me and Duke out walking again, just know that's not my workout anymore. That's my cool-down lap, 'cause these days, I don't just walk through life, I squat. Sweat and live it, 1 move at a time. My lower back pain started fading, slowly at first, then all at once. It was like my body had been holding its breath for years, and someone finally told it to exhale. For the longest time, I thought my aches came from age, from the usual getting older nonsense everyone talks about. But it turns out, half of it wasn't from time at all. It was from weak glutes, stiff hips, and a lifetime of sitting more than I moved. No one ever tells you that part when you cross into your 50s. They just pat your shoulder and say, "Walk more, it helps. Walking's fine." Don't get me wrong. It clears the head, gets the blood moving, but walking doesn't fix weak muscles. It just delays the problem. It's like patching a leaky roof instead of fixing the hole. For years, I thought I was doing enough. A couple of walks around the block, some stretching when I remembered. But then Bob, my neighbor and part-time fitness evangelist, showed me a different way to think about it. You don't walk your way out of weakness, he said. You train your way out, so I started small, embarrassingly small. A few body weight squats each morning, nothing fancy. Just me and the creak of my knees in the quiet of dawn. The first week was rough. My legs felt like jelly, my hips refused to cooperate, and I groaned loud enough for Duke, my dog, to give me a look of concern. But then something changed. 2 weeks in, my body started to remember. My muscles woke up. My balance came back. I could feel power returning to places that had been asleep for years. Even Duke noticed. He started having to walk faster to keep up with me, tail wagging like he'd just discovered I had a second wind. Then came planks. Now listen, planks sound innocent, harmless even. You just hold still, right? How hard could that be? Wrong. The first time I tried one, I shook like a leaf in a hurricane. My arms trembled, my shoulders burned, and 30 seconds felt like I was holding up the world. I collapsed onto the rug, gasping, thinking I'd made a huge mistake. But Bob, standing there with his coffee like some kind of personal trainer philosopher, just grinned and said, "A strong core is your armor, buddy. Keeps your spine young." That line stuck with me. So every morning after that, I'd get down on my elbows in the living room while the morning news mumbled in the background. It became a ritual, me versus the clock. Each day I'd try to beat my time from yesterday, even if it was just by a few seconds. The shaking didn't stop overnight, but it got quieter, more controlled. 2 weeks later, I hit a full minute without trembling, and it felt like victory. Not just physical victory, and something deeper. My body finally felt stable, like it wasn't fighting itself anymore. After that, Bob introduced me to something called the farmer's carry. The name alone sounded ridiculous to me, like something out of an old barnyard workout manual, but when he showed me, it made perfect sense. You pick up a dumbbell in each hand and walk, slow, steady, strong. The goal isn't to show off. It's to move with purpose, like you're carrying the weight of your own strength. The first time I tried it, I felt every muscle light up. My shoulders, my grip, my back, even my core worked overtime to keep me upright. It was simple, but it was magic. My hands, which used to ache from arthritis, actually started to feel better. Somehow, the act of gripping something heavy was teaching them how to be alive again. I started calling it my grandkid lift training. My goal wasn't to get ripped or to look younger. It was to be strong, enough to carry my grandkids around without breaking a sweat. If I could carry 2 25-pound dumbbells for 60 seconds, I could carry them all day. That was my real test. Not vanity, vitality. A month into this new routine, I noticed something strange. My energy came back. Not the jittery kind you get from coffee, but the deep, steady kind that hums quietly under your skin. I wasn't yawning after lunch anymore, or dozing off halfway through. Baseball games. I started doing yard work without groaning about it. Trimming bushes, lifting bags of mulch like they were nothing. Even my wife Linda started to notice. She'd watch me from the kitchen window, shaking her head in disbelief. "Who are you?" she'd tease. "And what have you done with my husband?" I'd laugh and tell her I was just trying to keep up with Bob's Ghostbuster workouts. She'd roll her eyes, but I could tell she liked the change. She liked seeing me move again, seeing me fired up about something. And truth be told, I liked it too. I liked feeling strong in a way that didn't come from pride but from presence. I wasn't trying to look like I did at 30. I was trying to feel like I could live like I did at 30. My back didn't ache when I bent over to tie my shoes. My hips didn't complain when I climbed the stairs. I started to feel like my body was working with me instead of against me. The best part? It wasn't about perfection. Some days my squats were shallow, my planks wobbly, my carries cut short. But I kept showing up. That was the real change. Consistency over intensity. Every rep felt like a small promise to myself, I'm not done yet. I've still got miles to go. Now when I walk Duke in the mornings, the air feels different, lighter. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the strength quietly returning to the places I'd forgotten about. Whatever it is, it feels good. The kind of good that doesn't fade by lunchtime. And as Duke trots ahead, tail wagging, I can't help but smile. Because somewhere between the squats, the planks, and the farmer's carries, I stopped feeling old. I just started feeling alive again. Then came the fourth move. Push-ups. The classic, the nemesis of every gym class kid from the 70s. I hadn't done one in decades, not since high school when our coach yelled at us to drop and give me 20. But Bob swore they were the fountain of youth. Push-ups ain't just arms, he said. They're everything. My first attempt was, well, pathetic. 2 measly push-ups tops before I collapsed onto the floor like a folding chair. I lay there, chest heaving, trying to remember why I thought this was a good idea. But Bob, leaning against the doorway with that smug grin of his, just chuckled. You'll thank me later, he said, so I kept at it. Knees down at first, just trying to keep my face from kissing the carpet. Gradually, I built up some strength. A week turned into 2, 2 into 3. Soon I was back on full push-ups, shaky but moving with purpose. Within a month, I could crank out 10 solid ones, without feeling like I'd aged 20 years in 2 minutes. And let me tell you, it felt amazing. My chest firmed up, my shoulders rounded out a bit, and my posture, way better. Linda even commented that I looked taller, like somehow I'd grown a couple of inches overnight. I wasn't just moving better, I was standing better. There's this quiet confidence that sneaks up on you when your body finally trusts you again. It's subtle, but you notice it when you walk into a room and feel right. The last exercise, and maybe the most surprising, was step-ups. Bob had this sturdy box, one probably a foot high, and all he did was step up and down, dumbbells in hand. Sounds boring, right? Try doing it for 5 minutes straight. My heart felt like it was trying to jump out of my chest. My legs burned, my lungs screamed, and my balance got tested like never before. The magic of step-ups. It wasn't just about the workout. It trained me for real life. Stairs, curbs, yard work, all that stuff walking never prepared you for. After a few weeks, I noticed I could tackle the porch steps 2 at a time again. 2 at a time. I hadn't done that since my 40s. I even found myself bounding down the driveway like a kid again, Duke wagging his tail like he approved of my newfound spring. Somewhere along the line, I realized these 5 moves. Squats, planks, farmer's carries, push-ups, and step-ups were changing more than my body. My mind started shifting too. I stopped thinking of myself as old. I started thinking of myself as experienced, seasoned, capable. I wasn't trying to be young again. I was just trying to feel like I could actually do stuff, and man, that's a powerful feeling. I remember one afternoon, about 2 months into this whole adventure, I was sitting on the porch sipping lemonade, feeling the sun on my shoulders. Linda came out, plopped down beside me, and said, "You seem different lately, lighter." I smiled, swirling the ice in my glass. "I found something better than walking," I told her. She rolled her eyes like she always does when I get all fired up about fitness, but I could see it in her face pride. She liked what she saw. I told her walking's fine if that's all you can do. It clears the head, sure, but if you can squat, plank, push, carry, and step, you're building a body that doesn't just move. It lives, it breathes, it shows up for you day after day, and that's when I got it. This wasn't about looking young. This wasn't even about being strong in the gym sense. This was about being ready for life and my life. Lifting the grandkids, chasing Duke around the yard, hauling groceries without groaning, being the guy who can still show up, still handle the real world, and still have fun doing it. That afternoon, the sun warm on my back and the lemonade sweet on my tongue, I realized something. My body, my energy, my confidence, and it had all come back, piece by piece, one move at a time. And I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. I just kept showing up. Around week 10, Bob convinced me to join his little morning crew. A few other folks from the neighborhood, all over 60, would meet in his driveway 3 times a week. We'd blast old rock, crack jokes, and push through our sets together. The energy was contagious. Everyone had their own story. Bad hips, knee surgeries, old injuries, but we all shared that same fire to take back control of our bodies. It felt like being on a team again. You forget how good that feels at this age. Now don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy. Some mornings I woke up sore in muscles I didn't know existed. There were days I wanted to bail and just walk Duke instead. But every time I showed up, every rep I pushed through, it paid off. After 3 months, my doctor was blown away. My blood pressure dropped, my balance improved, and I'd even lost about 12 pounds without changing much in my diet. The real win, though, was how alive I felt. Not young, just present. Walking had always been comfortable, predictable, safe, but these 5 exercises made me feel capable again. They demanded something from me, and in giving that effort, I got back strength, confidence, and the kind of energy I thought was long gone. It's funny. I used to look at people lifting weights and think, that's not for me, but now I get it. Strength training isn't about ego. It's about independence. It's about being able to lift your own suitcase, climb your own stairs, mow your own damn lawn. It's freedom in motion. And that, my friend, is worth every drop of sweat. One Saturday morning, about 4 months after I started, I ran into an old buddy at the diner, Rick, another retiree who loved to brag about his 10,000 steps a day. He looked at me and said, "You been working out or something? You look different." I told him about the 5 exercises. He laughed and said, "Nah, I'll stick to walking." So I grinned and said, "That's cool, man. But when your knees start barking, you know where to find me." 2 weeks later, he showed up at Bob's garage. By month 6, the group had grown. We started calling ourselves the Garage Warriors. We'd meet at sunrise, get our sets in, and then sit around drinking black coffee, talking about everything from grandkids to football. It wasn't just about the exercises anymore. It was community. We were building strength together, literally and figuratively. Some days, I'd catch myself thinking about how I used to dread birthdays. 60 felt like a sentence, but now every new day feels like a reward. I've got stamina, balance, and a spark I didn't even know I'd lost. And whenever someone asks me what I do for fitness, I don't say I walk, I say, I move with purpose. I tell them walking's a good start. Sure, but it's not the whole picture. You need to use your body in all directions. Push, pull, lift, balance. That's how you stay young where it counts. These 5 moves, squats, planks, farmer's carries, push-ups, and step-ups, and they're simple, but they hit everything that matters. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Just a little space, a little time, and a lot of grit. It's funny looking back. I thought turning 60 meant settling down. But honestly, it's when I started showing up. I'm stronger now than I was at 50, and not just physically. Mentally, too. Every time I hold a plank or knock out a set of push-ups, I prove to myself that I'm not done yet, that I've still got chapters left to write, and maybe that's what this whole thing's about. Proving to yourself that your story doesn't end when the hair goes gray. It just gets better written.